Car's namesake is Project Freedom. As I said, it's a 2021 Ford Mustang GT California Special. First fun fact about this car is that from mid-fender all the way under in Ford is the first in the world to have a OEM Mach 1 handling pack, K-member, clip, front edge conversion, front fascia, the whole nine. Worked with Anderson Composites to create this specific lower handling pack carbon splitter, but I made some brackets that you can't see underneath because they're all the way up here, is that it's fully chassis mounted to the front crash member bar. But the cool part about this, if you come closer, is that if you notice on a actual factory Mach 1, it's actually like this graphite gray, and what we did is that it would be a lot more classy. Remember how I talked about it be class style perfection? Well, about the class part, piano black is so classy. Like, I mean, the one thing, I hate black cars, but when they're done right, they're polished, they're just beautiful. And so the other thing, we color matched all of this and inside and everything, and then even the corner pockets where the air brake ducts are, color matched that because that was all the same thing. So that's one of the first things that people notice, like, is that factory? I'm like, no, it was color matched and painted piano black to match with everything. So cool fun fact about the headlights is I designed the actual, it's a factory headlight, but I designed the headlight. So we took the headlights apart and then we blacked, it's actually all factory. All this is blacked, actually factory, but we actually 3D printed the side markers to clear because the amber just sticks out like a sore thumb and it doesn't tie into the entire cleanliness of the body line from this body line all the way downward, all the way to the fastback and the rear haunches. And then inside here worked with Diode Dynamics. It's got their sequential amber turn signals on it, and at night it's just so bright. Fun fact about, so the fender extensions, the moldings, those are actually Ford factory OEM as well. And then I really want to talk about the wheels. Scott over at Velgen Wheels, they make some of the best premium forged wheels on the planet, in my opinion. They're 100% American made in California. So this is a two-piece forged wheel. Before we go around the car further, I really want to come back and talk about the suspension because that's the key focus on this car, and that is my expertise in that. So this car has custom Fortunato 510 series coilovers that we co-developed with Fortunato and the team, and Terry, the owner of Fortunato, is an amazing man. So we worked together with them. They're 24-way adjustable dampers, and they've got 10,000-pound Hyperco springs.
Quick question.
Sure.
When you did the work on the car, where was it being done?
It was done in, believe it or not, it was done in my mom's 700 square foot garage.
No joke.
Yeah.
Did your partners come into the garage and work on it with you, or did the parts come and you had somebody else that was helping you do
No, so
assembly?
I'm going to give a huge shout out to my good friend, longtime friend, Devin Bailu. He's an automotive junkie, and he was such a key component. I did most of the work on the car, but there are a lot of things I couldn't have done without him. Going back to the suspension, and then AED Performance, we worked with them is on, actually, this was the first in the world to have T6060 billet upper and lower control arms, and they're all spherical ball joints and bearings, and they're completely shim adjustable and everything. And what's cool is that they're anodized with the American flag on it, and it says Project Freedom on it.
Love it.
Yeah, so it's really, really cool. So, and then it's got a full bump steer kit on it from SPL. Yeah, and it turns on a dime. And then there's about 1,200 man hours just in suspension alone.
Wow.
When I remember when I did the first shakedown on Lake Mary Road up in Flagstaff, one of my favorite roads to drive in the state of Arizona, let alone the country, is I could not believe how well it just stuck. I mean, this car barely moves any flex in the car, just in rigidity, just in everything that it does. It's just incredible. The pinpoint precision, the steering, it's amazing. So Before we go back again to the car, I'm going to open the hood. So it's a Gen 3 5-liter Coyote V8. It's a stock bottom end. There's a little bit of head work done to it, but it's a stock Gen 3 manifold, but it's got a full D-source return style fuel system with their fuel rails, as you can see right there. It's got their whole plumbing line in it, regulator, and then it's got a dual D-source dual fuel pump in the trunk. And then also, if you look down a little bit further, you can see the Cerakoted Stainless Works 1 7/8 long tube headers. It's kind of hard to see from there, but then that goes back to a Borla Axleback active exhaust. It's fully Cerakoted. Keeps the underbody hood temps by like 15-20 degrees, and under hood temps too. Nice. 120 millimeter JLT intake, and then it's everything. Another good partner for cooling was Mishimoto. They came on board with their dual air-to-air oil cooler, as well as their 3-core aluminum radiator. This car doesn't operate temps over 195 degrees. It's crazy. Just dead straight needle. Wow. Car makes about, I didn't mention this too, I mentioned the power, but it makes about 475 foot-pounds of torque at the tire. It runs on E85R, but it is on a flex fuel tune. It can run 91, 93. So I could literally get in this car and drive to North Carolina today. Right. What's great is that working with Richard at DynoComp, there's such an amazing group of guys over there, and I've got such a great relationship with them, is that I wanted to make strategic is that I told them that we need to make it reliable, we need to make it run like factory, but we need to make a crap ton of NA horsepower that revs to the moon. Yeah. So even though this car has a Redline of 8,000, I don't really take it up there, but it has a Redline of 8,000. The farthest I've taken it up is about 7,700. Okay. So I mean, that's still screaming.
Yeah, it's up there.
Here in a minute, let's go into the interior. So I had designed the entire interior, as we talked about in the interview earlier, is that I really wanted to have something that was both performance oriented, but luxury and comfortable. That's what you said. One of the things I'll never forget that Jim Ring said is that, he's like, do you make those carbon steering wheels? And I'm like, no, I had to partner with a company to help me make it. And he's like, well, you should. Well, that's still in the works to do so. But yeah, and the Recaro seats, they're not factory. I still in my storage unit, I still have the factory GT California Special seats, but I designed those seats from scratch. I took them out of a wrecked 20 Mustang GT Performance Pack, and then I designed them. I partner with a local company who does automotive coach works and upholstery, and we worked with Catskin and then be able to design on that. Custom designed the steering wheel, as I said, and then it's got a 4-point chromoly roll cage as well, and then it's got a Barton Hybrid 4 shifter in it. It's like a bolt action Browning rifle. It's amazing. It's so comfortable. And this car is, as much as it's great on the track and it's awesome on an autocross, it's so much enjoyable to just cruise on the highway. That's my favorite thing to do with this car, is just go cruise on the highway. It's just, you know.
Look at that back end, man.
Yeah, that's the view most will see, I hope. So cool fun fact is I was able to work with Ford and Ford Performance, and these were some of the first OEM US spec Euro taillights that I was able to get, because Ford Performance now sells these. They announced them in I think SEMA 21, so I was able to get my hands on these through some amazing connections that I have. The wing itself is the actual same mill from a OEM GT350R spoiler. So this spoiler actually adds about 200 pounds of downforce at about 120 miles an hour. And the car I can just feel it. It
hugs.
Just sticks. And then the diffuser is, you know, I worked with Anderson Composite. It was a piece that they kind of already had. We just added some flair to it as far as things. And then fun fact about what I was talking about earlier is that, like on the X-Pipe, it has an American flag on it. I may have mentioned that, may have not, but that's engraved into it. And then on the mufflers itself, it has Cerakote's logo and CPD's logo. So
great.
So, and then opening the trunk, you can see more of the roll cage. Anyway, yeah, so as you can see, it's the roll cage ties into the trunk pan.
And you can look straight through.
Yeah, so actually, I got to redo this. I was like rushing to SEMA, but I actually cut that piece of plywood out, and I covered it in Alcantara because originally in this car I've had before I found like Studio RSR built the cage for me, is that I actually had a complete rear seat delete that all the way went down, but then when I had the cage in there and I had nothing else, I'm like, it does not look complete. So if you look back, it actually looks like a factory piece when everything ties together. That's another compliment I get a lot, is that everything looks like factory and everything looks like engineered as an entire unit together. It's just so much fun and so enjoyable. Everything works on the car. Everything's functioning like a factory Mustang. And
well, thanks for being here today. This has been so much fun to take the history trip with you, the personal trip with you, and to see the fruits of you just getting started.
Yeah.
And if this is you getting started, I can't wait to see what happens next, because this is incredible.
You guys keep a lookout for what's to come in the future.
Oh, we certainly will. Thanks for sharing this.
You're very, very welcome, and I've enjoyed being here. So
it's been amazing.
If you,
we feel really blessed.
I'm just gonna give a shout out if you guys want to follow CPD, just at Cassar Performance on Instagram. If you want to follow Project Freedom, just do at CPD_GTCS. I'm always trying to be as active as possible, and no matter who you are, if you have questions, if you have a Mustang or you have questions or you need some knowledge, I'm always willing to help.
Awesome. That's the kind of guy you are, man. I love it. Thanks again.
You're very welcome.
Great. Been loving it.